Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the Fantasy Football Counselor. We're talking Week 7 waiver wire. Got a bunch of names here you may want to consider picking up to help you guys in Week 7. Guys that had a pretty good week last week, you may want to consider. Before I get into the show, guys, make sure you guys smash the thumbs up. Leave your starts and sits questions for NFL Week 7 Fantasy Football below. I'll try to get to as many as I humanly possibly can. And of course, guys, join me on Flick Chat. We are chatting during games. It's an amazing experience. It honestly is. Quizzes, giveaways, a completely immersive environment to chat and smack talk during games. Head on over, guys, to my Instagram. I put it in my story mode all the time, in my story mode. Also, guys, there's a link here below as well here on YouTube. You can get down here in the comments. It's right in the comments. Click on it and join the app. It's called Flick Chat. It's an amazing experience in there, guys, in the app, okay? Make sure you guys do that. And, of course, smash that thumbs up. Really helps the channel, and I appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about the Week 7 waiver wire pickups. Now, Week 6, okay? I got to say, I had a good week. Hopefully, you guys had a good week. It was a good week for me. I won 2 out of my 3 leagues. The league that I lost, I made the crazy mistake, and I started Aaron Rodgers over Matt Ryan. I think I'm going to be starting Matt Ryan moving forward in all of my leagues. I just got to stick with a guy. That's it, because Matt Ryan always produces. That's why he's on my team. He had a shaky start. Looks like he's got some momentum going forward. I just saw a quote with him saying, "Oh, well, we've got the momentum going forward now. This is the real deal. We're ready to go." I don't know exactly how he quoted it, but either way, he says he's got momentum going forward. So I don't know if I believe Matt Ryan, but I guess I'm going to take his word on it and say, hey, he's good to go. So I got to stick with the guy. But anyway, that's the only reason I lost. The other league I was in yesterday, I was sweating because I had a 50-point lead going into this thing, okay? I had a 50-point lead going into the matchup, and then all of a sudden, Beasley got a touchdown, and Kelsey got 2 touchdowns. I was like, oh, my God, I'm in trouble because I was playing against Kelsey and Beasley. Sure enough, I did well. Still won by 2 points, but that was the league that Jefferson's on my leagues. He really helped me this week. And if you don't have him, make sure you try to get Justin Jefferson. Of course, Claypool. Those guys were saviors this week for me. Hopefully, you guys listened to my 16-round draft solution and got those guys. Okay, let's get to the waiver wire Week 7 here. I can't believe we're into Week 7, man. What happened? How fast did this go? It's insane. All right, now, understand that these guys aren't going to be your saving grace. And I talk about this in the 16-round draft solution. You got to have a lot of depth on your roster so you don't have to really worry about waiver wires. You're pretty much good all year. Occasionally, a player goes down, you got to compensate, but you should overall be pretty much prepared. So I'm going to go over some names here, and you may want to consider grabbing them. And again, you want to address your needs. When you look at any waiver wire pickup, you want to address your needs. That's first and foremost, and then get the best available player that is sustainable. And I mentioned this last week with Claypool. I said Claypool's a guy that'll sustain it. He had that big game and still had a good game the week after. It's not going to be a one-week wonder. Those are very, very important points when you get waiver wire because, again, the mainstream just say, hey, man, the Consheeps, they're like, okay, that guy had a good week. Let's just grab him. Guys, be cautious, okay? Be careful with the one-week wonders. Now, I got a couple of one-week wonders here. So, I mean, if he's available, Teddy Bridgewater, he had a bad week this week. Maybe people dropped him, whatever it may be. He's good. He's solid. He's consistent. He's gonna come back. Okay. He had a bad game versus the Bears. Okay. It won't happen all the time. It was his worst day as a Panther. So if people drop him, if you need a quarterback, maybe consider him. Okay. Andy Dalton. He'll be safe at best. I'm not really crazy about him, but again, he does have the weapons. But if you are these are desperate times, guys. Desperate times call for desperate measures. If you do need a quarterback, maybe Andy Dalton. I understand they had a terrible game yesterday. I didn't watch the whole game. I was a little busy, but you may want to consider Dalton. He's trouble, but be cautious with him. But if you need a quarterback, I don't know. Again, it was a really bad game, but we'll see if that continues. Justin Jackson seems to be the guy in LA over Kelly. He got more touches than Kelly, saw more key snaps in the fourth quarter on passing downs. Now, listen, it's going to be a 2-man committee, but Justin Jackson, if he's available, consider grabbing him. Boston Scott, Miles Sanders left with a knee injury. Consider grabbing him. I think Miles Sanders is going to miss a game, maybe a couple. I'm not sure exactly, but Boston Scott is definitely going to cover you for this upcoming week. I think they play Thursday, okay? So you may want to consider grabbing him. Boston Scott back up. Dearness Johnson had a bad game. Understand Nick Chubb is still going to be on IR. Dearness Johnson had a bad game, but again, if you are desperate to plug in a running back. Because, again, that's the position everybody's so desperate to fill, is that running back position. I mean, Dearness Johnson's still available, had a bad game. Jeremy McNichols. Believe it or not, Jeremy McNichols got some volume. Is that a concern for Derrick Henry owners? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no, it's not. I mean, sometimes they like to give Henry a break, but you saw what Henry did. He crushed it. But Jeremy McNichols had some volume, and I'm wondering if they're going to use him more. He did have, it was only 5 attempts, but he did well with those attempts, 51 yards. Is he a guy I'm going to be rostering? No. But if Cook goes down, if Henry goes down, you got an opportunity there. By the way, did you guys follow my Insta? If you're not following my Instagram at Fantasy Football Counselor, check it out. Madison went off on there. He told me to shut the F up. I mean, this guy, I was his only fan, and then I said that he was my suck of the week because he sucked. He screwed a lot of people's fantasy teams. And then he went on and said, shut the F up. And he went on there, and there's a whole thing. And then people were commenting. A lot of people sticking up for me because he did screw the community, and there has to be a voice for the community. So I went in there and stuck up for the community. But, I mean, he crapped the bed. There's no denying it. He was one of the sucks of the week. So Madison going off on my Insta now. We've had other guys go off. Eckler, he's hurt. He's not doing well. Bell went off. He sucks. So everything I've said is right. Everybody that goes off on my Insta, they're not doing that good. So, it was kind of funny. Go check it out on my Instagram. I posted it at Fantasy Football Counselor. You can see the post, him commenting in my Instagram comments. So, again, Madison, you still are the suck of the week, and I stand by that, man. I'd be bitter, too, if I had 2.6 yards per carry. Unacceptable, man. Unacceptable. LeMichael Pirine from the Jets. Maybe you may want to consider him. Le'Veon Bell being gone. Gus Edwards. Mark Ingram went out with an injury. You might want to consider him. 49ers. LeMichael Hasty, right? Mostert had an injury. So with him going out, maybe things open up for JaMychal Hasty. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. You may want to consider him as well. And if they're available in your leagues at wide receiver, Claypool, Mike Williams, Travis Fulgham, okay? Henry Ruggs, if he's available. Tim Patrick, Laviska Shenault, Russell Gage, Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole had a pretty good game, right? Which, Shark, not as expected, right? But Cole got the volume. But again, I think he's a one-week wonder. You got to be careful. Another guy's a one-week wonder potentially. Marcus Johnson from the Colts had a good game. So I don't even know if Rivers can see T.Y. Hilton, but I think that's the end of the line for T.Y. Hilton. Rivers is not doing him any favors. I don't know if he doesn't like him or whatever it is, but you may want to consider Marcus Johnson if you are desperate for a wide receiver, but you shouldn't be desperate. You guys should be good to go. Logan Thomas had a good game. I saw him. I think he got a touchdown that game. Looked pretty good if you are desperate. Now, Adam Shaheen, another one-week wonder. I was pissed here because Mike Gesicki, I'm telling you, man, Mike Gesicki had a terrible game, put up a 0 point, and then this Ed Sheeran guy, call him Ed Sheeran, but his name is Adam Shaheen. Where did he come from, man? I have no idea, but he came in, got the volume. Now, he didn't have a huge game. Go check out my Studs and Sucks episode, but it just pisses me off that this guy got the volume when it should be Mike Gesicki, especially because I started Mike Gesicki. He's supposed to be the guy there in Miami. In comes Adam Shaheen, and it was terrible, man. I was pissed off. And he finished 8th amongst tight ends. This Adam Shaheen got 14 points. He had 3 for 3 in targets, and he had the touchdown. So Adam Shaheen, hopefully it's a one-week wonder thing, okay? Other tight ends here, again, Nick Boyle. Is that going to continue? I don't know. I don't see it. He had a touchdown. And again, a lot of these guys are touchdown dependent, okay? Trey Burton, you may want to consider grabbing if he's available at tight end. 5 targets, 4 receptions. But again, Phillip Rivers just being really, really inconsistent with his tight ends. Jack Doyle, I bet you he's available in your leagues, 9.9 points, but again, very touchdown dependent, and it's hard to trust Phillip Rivers on who he goes to, okay? So that's the problem. Phillip Rivers has been super inconsistent. I mean, I would bench Phillip Rivers if I were you, Colts, but again, he's pulling out some wins, so how do you bench him? Again, Travis Fulgham we talked about. James Washington, again, I think he's a one-week wonder. Again, had the touchdown. I think Claypool's the guy. They still got Juju. Deontay's going to come back. Washington got some work because Deontay was out. I'm not really sold on him, but again, if you are desperate, he had a good week. James Washington, you may want to consider him as well. So again, Keelan Cole, we talked about it. We talked about these guys. Again, a lot of these guys could be one-week wonders. And again, you want to cover for those injuries. Again, 49ers, look at their backup. You look at the Ravens backup, could be Gus Edwards, right? Could be whoever's available on waiver wire. So Eagles had an injury, 49ers and Ravens at running back position. So you may want to get and fill in those weeks with their backups or guys that are going to go in those positions, okay? So definitely consider that. Darrell Williams had a good game, but is that going to continue? No, I think Le'Veon Bell is going to come in as well. So again, guys, 1 week wonders here. At this point, I keep saying it, your team should be solidified. Your team should be almost solidified after the draft. You should have a ton of depth, right? Always have a backup plan. Now, a lot of people don't listen. They get one quarterback, and then Dak Prescott goes down. Then what do, right? So you got to always be aware. You got to always be cautious. You always got to have a backup plan, and then for a backup plan. And then when you're done that, you got to have a backup plan for that. So it's very, very, very important, okay? Now, again, I talked about Andy Dalton. I didn't watch the game. I don't know what happened. I know they lost miserably to Arizona 38-10. But again, if you are desperate for a quarterback, you should have already picked up Dalton as a backup. He only put up 11 points. Really unacceptable. But again, that's probably one of his worst games. Should have played well, man. Primetime game. You're at home. Should have won. Should have done well. Didn't do well, okay? Again, there's some fumbling issues as well with Zeke Elliott. I saw that as well. I don't think that's going to continue, but it was a rough game for the Cowboys. Cowboys, rough season all around with injuries. Man, it's been crazy. So again, waiver wire week 7 for you guys. Hopefully this helps you. Again, stay sharp on the wire. And again, join Flick Chat below. There's a link here below. Join the conversation during games. I'm taking off right now, guys. I'm out. Again, smash thumbs up and enjoy the video. Tomorrow, we're coming out with our full preview of Tom Santinello and the Fire and Ice Show. Thanks, guys, for being here. I'm out.